This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Got a little fog going on today, so Rudolph may be on standby for old St. Nick.
Well, that's what
tomorrow night, right?
Is this Weird Al Yankovic? What was the name of that song?
It's Christmas at Ground Zero.
My Lord. Oh, my Lord.
It's a little dark, isn't
it?
But it's not. It's such a fun little Christmas.
That's a little dark right there. I don't know that I'm a fan of.
Here's
holy smokes.
Here's something from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Good morning with Chris Snead, who's in for Jamie and Jeff. I'm Chuck. This is a one percenter. I'll bet you Jeff knew this, but he didn't say it, so maybe he didn't. The ball on top of the beanie is for when sailors were wearing them on a ship. It protected them from bumping their head when they were below deck. To me, that makes tons of sense.
Makes tons of sense. Never heard that before.
Next level. I don't care if it's totally fake and made up. I'm going with it.
We might need to fact check it, but when have we gotten into fact checking on this program?
I mean, never let the truth get in the way of a great story. Right?
That's right. That's right. Let's see here. Good morning, gents, and Merry Christmas. It was a good weekend for the teams I pulled for. Lady Raiders.
W.
Plus the Red Raiders.
W.
Kansas City, and even the Cowboys won. Yes.
W's and W's.
All right. So let me tell you a couple things about the Lady Raider game from yesterday. They beat Houston 74-59. Had a great start, and then Houston took a timeout, and they made adjustments, and the Lady Raiders started turning the ball all over the place. And from about midway through the first quarter to the end of it, you got 3 shots off, and Houston actually led 17-14. But in that first half, there was an intentional foul called on Layla Blair, and here's the thing that was interesting about Layla Blair. She is from Houston. She's their leading scorer, and so before the game, I had a brief conversation with Ashley Chevalier, who spent 2 years here at Texas Tech, and as I was walking across the court, Layla Blair approached me, and we were just talking. And she had told Fink the same thing. She had complimented Fink on his Christmas tie, and she complimented me on my Christmas tie. And then she asked me about Lubbock and what it was like here. And I'm like, okay, well, she's a grad student, so she doesn't have any eligibility left.
Oh, she's not like the pining for.
And that's kind of what I thought first. And then she said,
"What's it like here?"
I said, do you live in Houston? She's like, well, I live in the suburbs. I go, well, this is what it's like. It's like living in the suburbs. That's what it's like. That's what I've always compared Lubbock to, because I grew up in the suburbs, and this is what it feels like to me. You got one of everything. Anyway, so then she said, this might be random, okay, but she said, Jesus loves you. And I said to her, Jesus loves you too. And so in the second quarter of the game, there was a skirmish for a loose ball between Danae Fritz and I believe it was Gigi Cook, and then there were some words kind of being exchanged, and all of a sudden Layla Blair came in there, and she had some words, and then there were more words, and then next thing you know, we've got a timeout, and they're going to go look at this, and so they ended up calling an intentional foul on Layla Blair.
Oh,
okay. Out of all that mess, called it, and it was clear that there wasn't necessarily Jesus love you words going back and forth between the players. I wasn't lip reading. I can't tell you exactly what they were saying, but that was going on.
Wow.
So then in the second half, you had Bailey Maupin. She goes up and she commits a foul, but and this is really weird in the women's game versus the men's game, because it was inadvertent, but Bailey's elbow hit a player's cheek. Yeah. Okay? As that player was going up for a shot. So they called the foul on Maupin. There's no question that it was a foul. But then they come over and they wanted to see if there was an intentional foul on Maupin, because of what I think was really more of an inadvertent. Like in the men's game, that foul would not have been called. The men's game is more physical than the women's game. The men's game, I don't believe that foul would have been called because it was just
probably accurate.
It was just a simple, Bailey, the way that she had her arm crooked, her elbow caught the other girl's cheekbone. Okay, and and so I was not happy with that call. The intentional portion of that. The other team gets to shoot free throws and they get the ball to bounce.
Sure.
Well, then a little bit later on in the game, in the fourth quarter, and so we get so as a result, you've seen the Hollywood seats that they've put in next to the bench, right?
I saw those.
Okay, so there's those 4 seats. So as a result of that, they took out one of the tables along press row.
That would be where you would sit.
Well, we still sit at the end, all right, but they took out a table, and this is where it affects us, because which is great, because now the official's mic and the replay monitor is literally right next to Fink.
Okay.
So it used to be that the monitor would be next to us, but then they were where the referee spoke into the microphone, which I love that they do that, and they announce to the crowd what the foul is and
Sure.
what the call is, so that everybody understands. I love that they do that. Well, Fink and I, sometimes we get carried away, and our voices get a little loud.
No,
shocker,
Wait,
right?
hey, you and Fink?
So for the first time,
Never heard that before in my life.
For the first time ever, we get told, "Hey, the officials are having a hard time concentrating because your voices are so loud." Basically, was the message to me.
It wasn't Bill, was it?
No, it wasn't
Okay.
Bill. It wasn't Bill. Bill Lawrence was not with us yesterday. So first of all, I think that's on the officials not to be able to concentrate and be able to.
Lord.
We're just doing our job. Okay, we're just doing our job, but it gets better.
Did you tell him you do your job and I'll do mine?
No, we just because I didn't want to get a technical foul.
Because exactly what I come right back.
Yeah,
see ya, buddy.
I didn't want to get a technical foul. We didn't need to be in any more part of the game than we already. Nobody knew that we had been told this. Okay, so then the second time that this happens, so Layla Blair fouls Logan Johnson, but she goes up with her elbow against Logan's face. Okay. And as a result, she gets called for a foul. Then they come over and look at it, and it's like, well, this has got to be an intentional foul too. So the official, before she cracks the microphone, she looks at Fink and I and she says, 14 is Layla Blair, right? Yes. She asked us who the player was so that she could announce, because that was her second intentional foul, which means she was ejected. So on one hand, we're told to keep your voices down. Then later on in the game, we're like, now we need your advice.
Wow.
We need your
advice. Hey, you want to take a look at this thing? Give us your opinion on this thing?
We need your help.
No, now I need your advice.
We need your help. It was Layla Blair. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Remember, this is a girl.
Holy cow.
So the
we
girl
need your advice.
The girl that told me Jesus loves you got kicked out of the ball game yesterday.
Well, he does love her.
He still loves her.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
2024, and with this day in sports history is the one, the only George Christopher Snead.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to the Academy. It is December 23rd in the year of our Lord 2024. That is right. We're all going to make it.
We're all going to make it.
Tell the minds to suck it. I hold in my currently nicotine-stained fingers this day. 1953, Chuck, Dodgers second baseman Jim Gilliam wins the NL Rookie of the Year. Were you watching baseball then?
It was 7 years before my time.
Okay, all right. 1972, the Immaculate Reception.
I was watching this game.
It was an incomplete pass, by the way.
No, it was not.
It was.
It was not an incomplete pass.
Yeah, because they missed it. But that ball scoots the ground. That ball had been overturned on replay. Yes, it would have. 100%.
Scored that touchdown.
Well, he did because they missed it. Yeah. The Immaculate Reception, Steelers turn around a 7-6 defeat with a last-second touchdown against the Raiders to win 13-7. Incomplete pass. 1987, Buffalo goaltender Tom Barrasso leads the Sabres to a 5-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings to score his 100th NHL victory, making him the youngest player to reach that milestone, just 22 years and 9 months, Chuck.
Wow.
Yeah. 1997, Chuck. The Bulls. Coach Phil Jackson is the quickest coach to reach 500 wins in 682 games. Phil Jackson, overrated or not?
Not at all.
Tell me how many championships he won without the best player on the planet. And I'm talking about him with Michael Jordan and then him with Kobe.
And
take
Shaq.
away those guys. Yeah, Kobe and Shaq.
But here's the deal, though. Prior to him going to the Bulls had a grand total of none, and they had Michael Jordan and they had Scottie Pippen.
This is true.
Okay, so somebody has to kind of put the whole thing together.
He managed people, and that's I'll give him that.
He was the cook. I mean, he oversaw the recipe. Okay,
yeah, he had his little Zen master stuff going on. Here, read this book.
I am not going to hate on Phil Jackson. All I'm going to say,
I've never been a big
say
Phil Jackson guy.
He figured out a way to motivate those guys and keep them all together. It's not like they were one and done. They won multiple championships because I think sometimes the hardest thing
had Michael Jordan.
I think sometimes the hardest thing to do in life, regardless of what you do for a living, is when you have success, is to have repeated success.
I mean, he had repeated success with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I'm just going to go with that.
And Scottie Pippen and Shaquille O'Neal. And he had,
take all those guys off there.
I'm just going to tell you, I think I don't think he's overrated at all. I think he's one of the greatest basketball coaches in the history of the NBA.
2006, Chuck, Bob Knight matches Dean Smith's record of 879 victories when Texas Tech beats Bucknell 72-60.
What year is that?
2006.
Okay, so on New Year's Day, January 1, 2007, he breaks the record.
Yeah, I think it's 901, right?
Yeah, and
902?
And the confetti falls.
Yeah,
right
and the confetti is still falling.
We hadn't seen some confetti until the other day with the Education Day.
That's
game.
how you know you're getting really loud in there. You get the reverberations.
There's still some confetti that falls some 17 years later.
Absolutely. Jay Jackson gets 10 that night during that 18. Oh, he scores 18. Jay Jackson scores 10 straight points during the game-breaking spurt. Scores 18 for the game. Martin Zeno also had 18. Alan Voskuhl.
Yeah.
Season high 15. And Daryl Dora, of course, 14. It's National Pfeffernuss Day.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. But it is National Pfeffernuss, small spice cookies, popular as a holiday treat with the Germans, and the Mennonites in North America. Similar cookies are made in Denmark and the Netherlands.
They're the spice cookie with like powdered sugar all over them.
Pfeffernuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're usually a harder cookie.
Oh.
Like they're not like you would never have Pfeffernuss soft. It's a harder cookie. It's a spiced harder cookie. They're tasty. It's a cookie at Christmas. You can turn one down.
Jeff says his bad. He says he's sorry, his bad. We missed Tim Tadlock turning 56. Anthony Lynn turned 56, and Baron Batch turned 37 on Saturday. And y'all missed it on Friday.
I thought when I saw that, did we do that? And we're going to get this is something we missed from over the weekend.
Born on this day.
Tadlock.
Yeah.
Tadlock.
You missed Tadlock.
Anthony Lynn, a former NFL head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a defensive coordinator with the
Detroit's?
I think so.
I think it was Detroit. Yeah.
And then also
Baron
Batch. Yeah.
Noted running back and painter.
Yes.
Born on this day, Susan Lucci. She's 78. She's still got her fastball.
He is the running backs coach and run game coordinator for the Washington Commanders.
Do not care. Susan Lucci is 78 and she's still got her fastball. Yeah, we are not mad at Susan Lucci.
It doesn't hit 100.
No.
But she still got one.
She can still get you out. She can get you out with it.
Okay.
Jim Harbaugh.
Okay.
61.
Okay.
Born on this day, Kirby Smart, head coach of your Georgia Bulldogs.
I just don't like him.
He's just excitable during a game. He's really a good dude.
Is he? Okay, I'm going to take your word
He's just
for it.
excitable during a game, and he gets into it. Born on this day, former Houston Astros closer, Brad Lidge. 48. Born on this day, Greg Biffle. 55. That's my age.
Baseball player?
I can't remember. He's a skier? Swimmer?
Driver?
Oh, Greg Biffle. Yeah, NASCAR.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, Greg Biffle.
Dead on this day, still dead. Cotton Davidson.
He was
died
a
in
quarterback.
2022. American football quarterback and punter.
Yep.
63 when he died.
He was a young man.
AFL All-Star Game MVP in 1961, played for the Colts, Texans, and the Oakland Raiders. He dies at 91. And in 1808, for the first time ever, we heard this.
Little Beethoven there?
Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor.
Yeah.
The Fifth Symphony received its world premiere. It would soon become the world's most recognizable piece of classical music. Chuck Heinz.
And Jeff can also give us a little bit of insight on the da-da-da-da. It was Morse code.
I mean, one of them is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one. Is it K? No.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking the one percenter.
Yeah.
No, it's something. It's one that's easy to recognize. I think it's K. I don't remember which letter it is, but the da is Morse code for something specific that I can't remember.
I'll get it to you.
And that is this day in sports history.
It's a call for help is what it is.
SOS?
Yeah, it's a call for help.
SOS is ... Dit.
Well, anyway. At any rate. That is this day in sports history.
Listen to you guys. No, it's da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da.
3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots is SOS.
Sound like Cab Calloway and the Bluesmen.
I love Cab Calloway and the Blues Brothers.
That's how I watched it yesterday afternoon. It was great.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I sure wish Dallas had Baker Mayfield. Not me. My wife and I went to Memphis in February of 2013, stayed on Beale Street, and listened to good music. Wife got introduced to Fireball whiskey, and woo! That was a fun time.
Hello. Hello.
V for victory.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
says V for victory. Let's see. Oh, and he goes on to say, oh, and Merry Christmas. Oh,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. All right. Risa says this, Merry Christmas to you, Chuck and Jeff, and what a Christmas gift to see Snead. Okay. There you go.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Chris Snead's in for Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app for that. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Bullfighter wants to know, what did the Magic 8 Ball say with regard to Taj Brooks? Because I asked if the depth chart would change, and it said yes, definitely. So now let's just one more question for the Magic 8 Ball. Will Taj Brooks play in the Liberty Bowl? Signs point to yes. So the depth chart will change, but the signs point to yes for Taj Brooks to play. Okay?
I think the Magic 8 Ball's drunk.
This could get tiring fast, but I am intrigued by it. We will have...
Let me show you my shock face, Chuck.
We'll have the end of the bench come up for just an hour at 9 o'clock today. You'll enjoy Rob Bro and Jeff McGuire from 9 until 10, and then we will have the Myrtle Beach Bowl from Myrtle Beach, Coastal Carolina, the host school, taking on UTSA. All right, let me ask you this, because we haven't gotten to this yet, and I'm not surprised that we haven't, but we need to get to it. What did you think of the 4 college football playoff games? Just the fact that you had 4 home games this past weekend for teams vying for the right to move on to the next round, semifinals.
I enjoyed watching day of football. It was interesting to watch postseason from campus sites.
Yep.
And it was interesting to see how that was portrayed in the difference where you see Penn State, Happy Valley, and Beaver Stadium not full. I mean, they had a lot of empty seats in the upper deck, and it was interesting to see that. And then, of course, you contrast that with Texas, where it is. I mean, there's people everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it is standing room only in that place, and everything in between. Ohio State, a lot of orange in the horseshoe.
doubt.
A lot of orange in there.
Kirk Herbstreit said that he had never seen that many people from a opposing school, and he said, "I've been going to this stadium since 1975."
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I think that means at some point fans from Ohio State either neglected to buy their tickets or just couldn't figure out a way. Maybe the cost was too much.
Or there's going to be a home allotment, but then there's also going to be people that are going to put their tickets up for sale on StubHub and stuff like that. I think there are a
lot of that. And Tennessee fans, those guys will travel, I'll tell you that much.
I was surprised because I heard them say this during the broadcast, that Knoxville is only 5 hours away from Columbus, Ohio.
It really is not that far.
And when I Googled it, I'm like, sure damn enough. Hey, 5+ hours, so it was an easy drive.
Here's the thing. I mean, and most of us, we live out here in West Texas. We measure everything by how many hours away is it, not miles. And, once you get past the Mississippi River, everything's pretty close together.
Yeah.
I mean, my crew chief lives in basically Destin, Florida. And he drove to 8 of our 11 games this year.
Okay.
I mean, and he only lives 4 hours from Baton Rouge, and he lives in the Panhandle of Florida. I mean, I'm like, good God, if I drove 4 hours in every direction, I'm still in the state of Texas, except west.
Yeah, I think I said semifinal. It's the quarterfinals that are coming up.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the home aspect of it, the passion of it. I mean, the games weren't much. I mean, we know that. I mean, SMU didn't, put up much of a fight against Penn State. They got beat 38-10, and Ohio State routed Tennessee from the beginning, 42-17. The Clemson Texas game was really the closest game,
and that
38-24,
was out of hand for a little bit.
And that was out of hand for a little bit. I disagree with all the naysayers about Indiana, and I'll say this because look, we may be SMU and Indiana next year.
There's a great possibility. And
so I mean, for all of you that poo-pooed Indiana, like, well, they shouldn't have been in there. Well, they won their conference.
They sure did, and they got to their conference championship game.
And that may be us next year that gets to the Big 12 championship game, and we're 11-1 or whatever, and we figure out a way to do that, and we're going to be like, well, what about us?
Exactly. I mean,
so be careful how many rocks you throw there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of folks, we should have had the best teams. Strength of schedule should matter. Well, don't lose to 6-6 teams then.
Right.
If you're a certain team in the Southeast and you're grappling about not being there, don't get beat twice by 6-6 teams.
I disagree with people like Kirk Herbstreit and others who have poo-pooed Indiana being in there, and even those that poo-pooed SMU, although there didn't seem to be as many people poo-pooing SMU as there were Indiana. And the only thing that I would say is that I would like the seeding to be similar to what the NCAA basketball tournament is. In other words, I don't think that just because you were, let's just say Oregon, or they probably would have gotten a bye anyway, or Georgia, but maybe Boise or even Arizona State. I think the seeding should be whoever the best 4 teams are is determined by the committee. Those teams should get a bye. But really, what
TV wants? TV wants, hey, we want the best 12 teams that have the best fan bases that have the most eyeballs watching.
I understand that, but hopefully that doesn't come to that. What I would like to see is I'd like to see a 16-team playoff and no byes and 8 home sites, and then move forward.
I think you're going to get that sooner than later.
I do too.
Because as you watch Georgia and who's the other one? Oregon, they're sitting around going, well, wait a second. Penn State got to have a home game?
Yeah.
And I got to drive, my fans got to drive 1,000 miles to Pasadena to watch us play? And they got to have all their people there at their place? And Texas got to have a home game, and I got to go. Georgia's like, wait, we got to go to New Orleans for our game? What is it? Why do I have to go to New Orleans? And Texas got to play in their place.
And it's just a quarterfinal game.
Exactly.
It's a
semifinal game. Oh, quarterfinal. Because you're right. My bad.
I mean, the next round is quarterfinals.
It is. You're right. But the point being is that you're watching these athletic directors going, those guys got to make a crap ton of money last week, and I had to sit here and watch those guys make a crap ton of money, and now I got to go on the road.
Well, and the other thing too is course, the other benefit for not playing is you're not as dinged up as maybe somebody is.
Yeah, but they got to play a home game.
Right? Well, and when it comes to
athletic
funding,
directors going, whoa.
And when it comes to funding, and trying to figure out how you're going to, come up with this $20 million to, share the wealth with the players in all your sports, even if 90% of it is going to the football team, and and it's not quite 90. But anyway, the bottom line is significant number, and a significant number to men's basketball, and then the other sports. When you have a home football game, you get that extra game, man. It helps everybody. I mean, it helps the town, it helps the gown, and it helps the whole thing.
Economics, man.
So I think you're going to get to 16 more so quicker than what we think.
We are in this 12-team format's a 2-year deal, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked at all if we have a nice look in after this and say, what do you say we scrap that and just go to 16 teams? Because who was sitting there at first team out? Wasn't that your Bamas?
Yeah. All right.
Who was the second team out? Wasn't that your Miamis?
Yeah.
Think they'd all like to be playing the playoffs?
Sure.
The thing about this,
they wouldn't mind traveling at this point.
They sure wouldn't. They would have loved to have gone to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But the point being is that television, more than anybody, is sitting around going, oh my gosh, what if SMU gets hot for 3 weeks?
Well, here's the other thing though too, but is if you have 4 more teams, okay, that's 2 more games that are a lot more relevant than
exactly
the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
But the point, we're still playing the Myrtle Beach Bowl. That's content, man. It's December and middle of the day content for ESPN.
I understand that, but even these are going to kind of, they're going to start to go.
No, they're not. I promise you, Chuck Heinz. You should know this more than anybody. It's middle of the day content, so guys like you can sell advertising for it.
As long as people are willing to watch
Absolutely. No one's going. They don't care who goes to watch it.
Remember, if we could sell Chinese gong, we would have a Chinese gong radio station.
Gong.
All gong all day.
All gong all the time. Double T Gong 104.3
97.3. Thank
you. We got to put some frequency.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3, presented today by someone not named Jamie, is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, in the Christmas spirit, I would like you to pick either Texas Tech football, basketball, men's and women's, or baseball, any one of the 4, and assign them their respective Christmas movie that compares them to the last year.
Compares them to the last year?
Like if you were to say their last season, so we're going to go men's December to January to December. So you've got last year's final and this year's beginning. If you've got, women's hoops, the same kind of thing, men's football, Tech football this year, baseball last season, a Christmas movie that correlates with one of the 4 that you would say, this is that.
Are you good at the Christmas movie stuff?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's a little complicated of a question, I will agree.
Yeah.
But there's also what Chuck and I like to call no wrong answers.
Where you want to start us? You want to start us off, Jeff?
I'm going to go Tech baseball here.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Santa Claus, the Santa Claus Part 2.
Oh, 2.
Where they got married at the end.
Okay.
Because it took forever for that season to get going, and then it just kind of ended. And that's kind of how I felt the Santa Claus 2 did. It was a fun story. We get the marriage at the end, we get the cookies, and she becomes Mrs. Claus.
Mm-hmm.
But it took forever for that build-up to happen, and then it just ended. Much like the Tech baseball season did.
I'm also going to go with Tech baseball, but I'm going to go with Gremlins. Started off so cute and warm and fuzzy, and then turned into a complete out-of-control disaster at the end. Don't get them wet, man. Right lights.
Okay. I'll I'll go Lady Raider basketball, and I'll go a Charlie Brown Christmas. Okay, because I feel like at times last year you were right there. Okay, and old Lucy pulled the ball out. Charlie Brown just fell on his butt. Okay, and it ends with the Christmas tree and all warm and snuggly and looking beautiful. They took something and made it beautiful, and I think this team looks better on paper and better on the court than it did a year ago, even though the records are identical. And while I'm not here to tell you that you're going to have a banner hanging or anything like that, and you may have a participation banner for getting into the NCAA tournament, or even they're not going to hang, I don't think, a WNIT banner. But I still think this. I think that your possibility of postseason play, I feel better about it today than I did a year ago because of the talent on the team and the depth on the team. And it seems like somebody steps up different each game when you need them. Yesterday, it was Sarah Sanogo who had the first double-double, and Danae Fritz who had 10 in double figures, and oh, by the way, Bailey Maupin again was Bailey Maupin. But so I feel like that Charlie Brown Christmas would be good for the Lady Raiders.
Okay, make that tree into something, man.
Make that tree into something.
Whip it up.
What do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, if one of us were to have said elf for Tech football, I think that would be appropriate.
Well, that maybe is more like last year. Santa.
Well, no, you get all the excitement of the football season. You get the anticipation of the Santa's coming, and you also get the heart-touching moments of the family and everything that you weren't exactly wanting to see in a fun little Christmas movie that you got anyway. And at the end, you're going to the Liberty Bowl facing Arkansas. So there's a happy ending, but not the happiest of endings. I think Elf is pretty appropriate, and the roller coaster that it was of the excitement and the lovey-dovey stuff, I guess, is the way to put it, where it's up and down on your emotions. I think football fits that pretty well.
Yeah.
Somebody said, football has to be diehard. Do you believe that?
Watched it yesterday, man.
Did you?
Not a Christmas movie.
It's not
a Christmas movie.
It's not. I really don't.
Neither really is Gremlins, though.
I really don't want to get into that either.
Yeah.
It's
Die Hard's it's a movie that takes place at Christmas.
Yes. There you go. Thank you. 7:37 here this morning on the morning drive. Somebody says this off the Yates Flooring Center chat line, and I disagree with it. Tech will not ever compete when revenue sharing starts. It will have to cut sports.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
I do too. I think what you have seen, this coming together of resources led by Cody Campbell and John Sellers and Tim Culp and other guys, a lot of people have been involved in this. I think it's galvanized the donor base, and I think as a result of big people stepping up with big dollars, others are stepping up with medium and smaller size dollars. Although when it comes to any kind of donation, if no matter what you give to, usually it hurts a little bit, and I think that you're going to see more and more, especially if you have success, because winning cures all ills.
It really does.
And if you win, it becomes a very addictive drug. You're like, hey, we gotta do it again.
Gotta get the high again.
We gotta get the high again because we can get there. We can. It is the Holy Grail. It's right.
It really is. It's right there. I can reach it. I can let it go, Indy. Let it go, Indy.
I can get it.
Indy.
I can get it.
Indy.
Indy.
Let it go.
But we're not letting it go right now. They got a kicker yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
I would say any fan that thinks that Texas Tech's not going to be able to compete financially from a resources standpoint, Texas Tech is as well positioned as any school in America. And I'm talking about all those schools from the three-letter conference in the Southeast. And there is nobody that is going to outspend Tech. And we have made that clear. And it's hard to go 17 for 17, and we just did that in the transfer portal. Every guy you wanted, you got.
They targeted them. They analyzed them. They went after it. So I think that if you have any modicum of success this next year, and that's now defined by competing for a Big 12 championship, I think you're going to see more of the same coming forward. They're going to figure it out, because I think that I get the feeling that they've been ahead of the game.
They have been.
7:40 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Chris Snead is in for Jamie Lent today. Jeff McGuire's here, as he is just about every day, and I'm here too. You can't get rid of me either, not quite yet. We come to you, Chris and Jeff and I, from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock. Look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Visual Edge IT hotline. Do you have all your Christmas shopping done?
I'm sweating a gift here. I'm
lucky lady?
Yeah, I actually ordered it online.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Well, no, it's, it hasn't been delivered yet.
Okay.
And, you get your package is on its way, blah, blah, blah. That hasn't happened, and I'm kind of concerned about that now. I don't want to have to put a picture of something in a bag, say, you're going to get this soon.
I would love not to have ordered my stuff online. Mm-hmm. There's not a store in town that sells what I bought.
Okay, well, at least you tried. At least you tried.
I would love for a store in town to have either one of those two items.
Okay.
And that is one of the problems with shopping in stores now, is they are not carrying what we're looking for.
I'm not shopping in any store. I'm not going into any stores anymore to do this stuff. I am not going to the mall for anything.
Okay.
There's nothing I need at the mall that I need to go see all those people and fight for parking and do that. Those days for me are long gone.
Old Razzle Dazzle says, senile take, Chuck. At least he put a comment in it. Okay. Let's see here. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. I asked a question. I'll read them as we got them here this morning with regard to fantasy football, up or down. This from Cowboy Cody. Love you, Chuck, but my two sons that attend Texas Tech are completely consumed with and crazy over fantasy football. Maybe it's not for us boomers, LOL. My deal with the fantasy football is I root for my teams. I root for the Chiefs. I root for the Cowboys. And I root for the individuals on those teams, and I don't want to have to root against my teams to do that. Now, daughter number 2 is completely consumed with fantasy football, and she has actually done quite well with it. So I'm not, I guess, a great influence there. Agree with Snead on this. Got 5 teams. Okay.
Wow.
There should be, it's a lot. It's a lot. There should honestly be a segment about fantasy football on every show to help individuals with the waiver wire each week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Gary says this, I'm with Chuck on this one. Give me real football. No interest at all in fantasy football. Well, Chuck doesn't know his audience after all. This from Kim. I care about fantasy football. I'm in the playoffs. Give me the fantasy football with a, I don't know what kind of emoji that is. It looks like a grrr face there. Old Razzle Dazzle says this, football equals good, Chuck equals bad. Okay, well, man, Razzle Dazzle, I thought we were somewhat friends. 150 buy-in for my fantasy league, and I won back 225 in weekly winnings. Yes, I care about fantasy football. This 4 thumbs up, could care less. Got a guns up. I think that's with, looks like maybe that's a middle finger. I'm not sure. Is that a middle finger or a guns up?
I do not know.
Kind of, I'm going to explode that on my iPad here.
That's a guns up.
That's a guns up. Okay. So
is that a guns up 3 ball?
That's a guns up.
They're agreeing with me.
Okay.
Boo, Chuck, thumbs down. I agree with you, Chuck. Don't be mean. Kevin, I care about fantasy football. Okay. Suck it, Chuck. We care about fantasy football.
I agree with both of you. And this is how I'm crazy. I don't care about Chris's fantasy football team.
I don't have a fantasy football team.
I don't care about Chuck's fantasy football team. I don't care about old Razzle Dazzles or anybody else's fantasy football team. I care about my fantasy football team. But I also acknowledge that nobody cares about my fantasy football team.
I don't have a fantasy football team to care about.
I saw this earlier, and I meant to bring this up, and I'm disappointed because I don't know what the bet is, and I'm curious if they really know the real number or if they just were observing me, because somebody lost a bet with regard to my handshaking at this is an hour ago. Enjoyed the game Saturday, but also enjoyed a friendly bet with a friend on over-under number of handshakes from Heinz. I took the under, and I'm buying beers today.
Wow.
Well, I don't know what the over or the under was on that.
Someone was paying close attention to you.
I had a number of handshakes there. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, with kind of royalty of Lubbock too.
Of
I mean, there
course.
was.
Well, you are royalty.
I was sitting on the front row, courtesy of my friend at Clearview Auto Glass, and he provided me with his seats. Me and the lucky lady went, and so sat next to Don Highest and his wife, and I spoke and chatted with two former mayors. The president of the fine bank that provides us with the First United Bank studio, and another couple of bankers that were there.
Okay.
I mean, it was
that's a full day right there.
Athletics director of the university was right down the row from me. So I mean, I did all I could, man. I didn't go into the crowd just shaking hands with anybody and everybody, which I guess I could have done, but I don't know what your number is. This from Juan. I used to do fantasy football, then got way into it and had to stop.
Yeah, that's where I fall. Got way too into it.
This nobody cares about your fantasy football team or your bracket. Stop talking about them at work around the water cooler. Okay, around the water cooler. Yeah,
no one has a water cooler anymore.
And that's a shame.
It is a shame
because water coolers are a nice place to get a cold drink of water.
Actually, it's not true. We actually have three at the association.
We did not have any bets on which one of us had lost a bet, and we'll sing a Christmas song today. That's not this show.
Wait a second. There's a Christmas song?
Again, that's not this show. Okay. So which one of you had lost the bet, and we'll sing a song of Christmas?
I've not lost any bets.
Me neither. So,
I've not bet anybody anything.
Right. So
don't bet what you can't afford to lose.
Right. So there you go.
Would you sing? No, because when you sing, you're going to Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer
had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw him, he would even say it close. All of the other reindeer used to shout and call him names. They wouldn't let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one stormy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
We were doing so well. I was so impressed.
Then all the reindeers loved him, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
There you go. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
8:09 this morning here on the morning drive. We'll have a Victory Monday, be a happy Brad Sham on the Cowboy Hour. And this is not a recap of the game. This is a extended interview with one of the players. And I don't know which one of the players is on today. But I think he does a great job with that. And I always enjoy
win or lose.
I always enjoy getting to kind of hear about more about these players more so than anything else.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.